Welcome to Real Custom Lures. My name is Jeff, and today I'm going to show you how I make jig spinner arms. Thank you for joining, and let's get going. So what is a jig spinner arm? A jig spinner arm is a stainless steel wire frame. It has the jig main shaft down here. There's a U-clip that snaps on, snaps off from the jig wire frame here. And of course, this is where you attach your favorite jig to. This is a paddle tail. I have another paddle tail, I think this is a 3.8. And then where you can attach a skirted jig to it as well, or really any of your favorite jigs you can attach to the jig spinner arm. As a matter of fact, I make these soft plastic baits. I'll do a YouTube video in the near future on how I make these, along with the skirted jig here. Now to continue on with the jig spinner arm, up here we have the R bin, and this is where you attach the line to. We have the upper shaft, this is the blade shaft, and that's where you attach the blade to with the swivel. This is a willow blade, this is a Colorado blade, and this is a Indiana blade. You can attach any blade of your choice to them, and as I mentioned, any jig you want to with it. When I'm up in northern Wisconsin, I use these, and I catch a lot of largemouth bass, smallmouth bass with these. I'll hook up with some walleye and even northern pike. And down, I'm here around eastern North Carolina, and I catch red drum with these. They seem to work pretty well. So if you haven't tried fishing with a jig spinner arm, you should really give it a try. Now with all that being said, let's get started. So I'm going to show you how I make the jig spinner arms using two wire bending tools. This one here is the little blue bender. I'm not sure why they call it blue when it's actually gold color. It should be like little gold bar bender, but whatever. Down here is the arm, to where it will actually shape the wire with two pins here against these bending blocks here. And this will hold up to 0.41 gauge of stainless steel wire. Over here is the Hagen's wire bender. It has more features. The arm is down here. Again, the two pins, the forming blocks here for the wire. This will hold up to 0.45. You can get an adapter kit where you can actually up to, I think it's up to 0.51 of gauge wire you can use. Just so far I've just been using what came with the factory. And up here is where I make my twist ties. And I'll show you another video on how I actually use this. And I got both of these from Barlow's tackle. So I drafted up a little jig spinner arm diagram. I put some measurements on here since we're going to be doing two of them, so I can try to make them both the same. We'll be using the 8-inch stainless steel wire shaft. This is a 32 gauge. What's nice about making your own jig spinner arms is you can make the blade shaft as long as you want, as short as you want, the jig body as long as you want, as short as you want. But the first thing we've got to do is we've got to make the start of the U-hook, and that's what's actually going to attach to the jig body here. with the tip of the stainless steel wire. You're going to place it between the two pins and just barely pass them. Then you're going to turn clockwise about 3/4, and you're going to release the tension. And now we have our U shape here. Now we're going to make a bend. It's going to be a right angle bend, and that's what actually is going to clip on and clip off of the jig body wire shaft here. With the U pointing toward you, and you want it straight up and down, place it between the two pins, almost in the middle. Try to keep it straight up and down as you can. I'm going to turn it to the right and just a hair more and let go of the tension. Now we have the U-clip bend. Now we're going to get ready to make what I call the jig eye arm here, to where we actually attach the jig to. For that, I've already pre-measured from the back of this block here up to here is 1.5 inches. Now you want the U so it's pointing to your left and then straight up and down. It just about gets to my 1.5 inch mark. I'll start doing the twist. I'm going to bring this U-clip all the way around until I touch the long shaft here. As soon as I touch it, I release the tension. And we're just going to turn it over. Place it on the center pin here. As I'm turning clockwise, I'm sliding my fingers between the two. I'm putting pressure to the right until it just touches the shaft of the U-clip. We'll let go. We have our bench look like this. Now I'm going to clip it to the jig shaft here, and we have a start of a jig spinner arm. Now we've got to make the arm bend, and to do that, it's going to be 3 inches. It wouldn't have to be exact, but I'm going to try to keep it the same dimensions here. So where the jig clip hooks to here, down here, the jig eye, measure out 3 inches. I'm just going to hold it with my finger here for a measurement. And then get the arm ready. Lay it between the two pins here. Now it's important that you either have the U-clip pointing straight up and down, or you're going to turn it upside down. Just make sure it's straight, pointing up. It only matters what it will either clip to the left or the right. I like mine with the U-clip pointing up. We're going to start our bend. Once the pins have a hold of the wire shaft, you can pretty much let go. We'll spin all the way around. It's going to hit this little bending block up here. I'm going to keep twisting, going counterclockwise until I touch the jig shaft. As soon as I touch it, I let go of the tension, and now we have the arm bend. Now we're going to get ready to make the blade loop on the upper blade shaft here, and I want that at 2.5 inches. So I measure from the bottom of the arm bend up to 2.5. And this time we're going to clip off the excess wire here. I got needle nose pliers that have wire cutters on it. And when you're doing this, make sure you're pointing away from your face, because these things will fly. Alright, we have that cut. Now when you make the blade loop, you want to make sure the blade loop bends toward to where the jig's going to be attached to. You don't want it to go this way in front of where the R-bend is. So what you do is you lay the R-bend so it's sideways on its side. You don't want it up and down like this. You want it to its side. You put the top of the wire shaft in the middle of the pins, just barely above it. And this time we're going to spin all the way around until it touches the blade shaft. As soon as it touches, I'll let go. And now we have the blade loop. Now what I use to attach the blades with is a stainless steel ball bearing swivel. That's all I use. I think there's like 5 ball bearings in here. The blade action rotation is so smooth with these ball bearing swivels, these stainless steel ones. They have a split ring on the top and bottom, and you attach your blade to the split ring just like you're putting a key on a keychain. If you have problems getting the blades on these tiny little split rings here, then you might want to get a split ring pliers here. They're special design, made specific for opening split rings, and they work really well. It just I've put so many blades on, I don't use these very often. So let me get a blade here. And I've already attached the blade to the stainless steel ball bearing swivel here. You take the other end of the split ring, slide it on the blade loop. Now we're going to close the gap. And I close it until the wire comes just above the wire shaft blade and against it. And you should be able to feel it when you slide your finger. That way I know this blade is not coming off. And now you get your favorite jig, and we're going to attach it here. And we're going to snap it to the jig shaft here. And voila! You are ready to go fishing. I know I am. Matter of fact, I'm going to be going out this week. I'm down here in eastern North Carolina, and I'm going to be going after red drum. I do pretty good at catching red drum using these. Now we're going, and that's it for the Hagens. Now I'll show you how I make the jig spinner arm using a little blue bender. Now I'm going to show you how I make the jig spinner arm using the little blue bender. Again, I'm using the same stainless steel wire, 32 gauge. We need to form the U-clip. To do this, we're going to place the wire between the 2 pins, just so it barely goes past them. And we're going to twist almost 3/4, and then we'll let go. And then we have our U-clip shape. Now we're going to put the bend to it. This time it'll be a left angle, with the U-clip pointing down the wire shaft. You want to place the U between the 2 pins, almost in the middle. Try to keep it straight. Turning to the left, Let go of the tension. Now we have the U-clip. Now we're going to make the little jig eye loop here. And there we want 1/2 inches. Now on the little blue bender, I measure from this bending block here, the gold one, out 1 inch. I'll probably put like 1.25 inches, maybe 1 1/8 inches. Now you want to make sure that the U is up, but the U is actually pointing toward you. We're going to start the bend. The U-clip shaft here, we're going to hit this nut. Almost close it all the way. And let go of the tension. Now instead of turning it over, the little blue bender here, we actually had to put the eye right in the center pin here. And the U-clip is touching this gold bending block here. As I'm twisting clockwise underneath, I'm actually pushing the wire to the right. Just before it touches, then I'll let go. And now we have the form, and that's what's going to clip to the jig shaft here. Clip it on here. And now we're ready to get the R bend. Now for the R bend, we want it for 3 inches. Get the ruler back out. We're going to measure from where the jig will actually attach to down here. Up 3 inches. I'll lay them between the pins here. Again, I want the U clip so it's pointing up and straight. I'm going to start my bend, counterclockwise motion. It's going to hit the nut, and we'll keep twisting until it just touches the jig shaft. It touches, and now we have the R bend. Now we're going to make the blade loop, and I want that to be 2.5 inches. Again, measure the bottom of the R bend. Find my 2.5. And using those pliers, cut off the excess. Again, make sure you point it away from you. And again, you want to make sure the blade loop is coming toward the back of the jig, where the jig's going to be attached. To do that, you're going to have the R bend sideways. It's going to be pointed toward you. You're going to put the tip of this between the 2 pins, just so it barely comes out. And this time you're going to twist it all the way around until it touches the blade shaft. Let go of the tension. And now we have our blade loop. Let's get a blade. We'll attach it to it. And this happens to be a Indiana blade. I already have the stainless steel ball bearing swivel attached to it. Now we're going to clip this onto the blade loop. Using those pliers, we're going to close the gap. Now we got our blade on. And now we're going to attach our jig to it. And as before, voila, you're ready to go fishing. So that's how I make the jig spinner arms using the little blue bender. Now some of you might be asking, well, can you make the jig spinner arm with the twist eye? And yes, you can. I have one that I pre-made already. This has the twist eye. And I'll show you how I make the jig spinner arms with the twist eye using the Hagen's wire bender, and that will be part 2. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video content as much as I did making it for you. And I will be working on part 2, showing you how I make the jig spinner arm with the twist eye. And until then, I'll catch you later, and tight lines.